Today, I'm showing you how someone can follow every rule, do everything right, and still destroy their retirement with this one mistake, letting the system see too much income too late. Through working with clients who thought they were set, I've discovered that maxing out your 401k, saving $3 million by 65, delaying Social Security, and even paying off your mortgage, all this doesn't protect you if you ignore the order of operations. Even worse, you can end up keeping less money than someone who saved half as much but planned the exit better. The system doesn't reward good savers, it punishes visible income. That's exactly why I'm making this video today, to show you what went wrong for someone who did everything by the book, so you can avoid the same trap before it's too late. Let's get right into it. Picture someone who played the game exactly the way they were told. For 30 years, they maxed out their 401k. Every single year. They got the employer match. They invested consistently through crashes and recoveries. By 65, they had $3 million sitting in an IRA. On top of that, they delayed Social Security all the way to 70 because every calculator, every article, every rule of thumb, it said that's how you maximize your benefit. They paid off their mortgage, eliminated all their debt. By every conventional measure, this person won and assumed the hard part was over. What they didn't realize is that saving was only half the equation, and they'd completely ignored the other half. Everything they read told them to focus on the accumulation phase, but nobody talked about the distribution phase. Nobody explained that a $3 million IRA isn't just an asset, it's a tax bill you haven't paid yet. And the longer you let it sit, the bigger that bill becomes. So they did everything the default advice told them to do. But here's where it started to unravel. While they were focused on delaying Social Security and watching their balance grow, they completely ignored Roth conversions. They let that $3 million IRA sit untouched through their entire 60s, thinking they were preserving it. Every year from 62 to 72, they had empty tax brackets just waiting to be filled. They could have converted $100,000 a year at 12 or 22% rates, but they didn't. Because paying taxes before you have to, it feels like giving money away. Here's what nobody explained. Tax deferred doesn't mean tax-free. It means tax later at rates you don't control. The fear of a $15,000 tax bill at 62 led directly to $40,000 tax bills every year after 73. And the cruelest part, they thought they were being smart by letting it grow. They thought tax-deferred growth was the whole point. What they were actually doing was building a tax bomb with a timer set for their mid-70s. So they avoided paying taxes early, but here's what happened when RMDs finally started. At 73, the IRS shows up and says, time to pay. Required minimum distributions force money out of that IRA whether you need it or not. With a $3 million balance at 73, the RMD is roughly $120,000. They don't have a choice. That money becomes taxable income. Now, stack that on top of their maximized Social Security benefit, about $55,000 a year, add in dividends from their taxable brokerage account, another $15,000 to $20,000 they can't control. Now, suddenly, they're showing close to $200,000 in income, and the system, it sees every single dollar. Here's what that income visibility triggers. The combined income pushes them into the 24% federal tax bracket. It triggers IRMA surcharges a couple years later. That's the Medicare penalty for having too much income, adding over $2,000 a year just in extra premiums. And because their provisional income is through the roof, 85% of their Social Security becomes taxable. So if we think about this, they thought they planned carefully, and now their biggest retirement expense is taxes. The $3 million IRA that felt like security, it became a tax trap that unleashed itself the moment RMDs began. You can see how easy it is to fall into this tax trap. If you're tackling this on your own, you can use our free Ultimate Retirement Guide below to help. It has all the information you'll need to get started. Now I can imagine you're sitting there thinking, okay, but how bad is it really? Let me show you the actual numbers because this is where it gets painful. They expected $3 million plus maximized Social Security meant a comfortable $120,000 a year in spending with minimal taxes. That's not crazy. That's what the math looks like on paper. But after federal taxes, state taxes, IRMA surcharges, and Social Security taxation, nearly half of their income was gone. Let me put that in perspective. Someone with $1.5 million who converted early, managed their income visibility, and claimed Social Security strategically, they're keeping more money than the person who saved twice as much. The person who did everything right is paying more in taxes than the person who saved less but planned the exit better. This is the part that breaks people. They followed the rules, they sacrificed vacations, worked overtime, lived below their means for decades. And the reward for all that discipline? A system that punished them for having too much money in the wrong place. The emotional weight of realizing this at 73, when it's too late to fix, is that feeling of wishing you could start over, do it again with better information. And nobody told them this would happen. The default advice led them straight into the trap. So we get it, they paid more in taxes than their peers with half of their savings. But here's what they should have done differently. The right order of operations would have looked completely different. In their 60s, before Social Security started, before RMDs kicked in, they had something incredibly valuable: empty tax brackets. They could have filled the 12%, even the 22% bracket with Roth conversions, $100,000 a year converted from the IRA to a Roth, paying taxes at rates they controlled. By 73, the IRA could have been half the size. That means RMDs of $60,000 instead of $120,000. Smaller RMDs keep them in lower brackets. Lower income keeps them under IRMA thresholds. Less provisional income maybe even means less of their Social Security gets taxed. It's the same $3 million, but the outcomes are completely based on when and how they let the system see it. Here's what this really comes down to. Retirement isn't just about saving. It's about how and when you let the IRS, Social Security, and Medicare see your income. The same balance can produce wildly different outcomes. Two people, identical account balances, they can easily have lifetime tax differences of $300,000 or more. Same money, but different sequence and a completely different retirement. Now that you see what should have happened, let's talk about what this means for you. If you're in your late 50s or early 60s, you're standing in a powerful window right now. This is the time when you can still control the outcome before decisions get made for you. The old belief of, if I save enough, I've done the hard part, that's the belief that leads people straight into this trap. The new framework, it looks like this. The size of your balance matters less than the sequence of how you unwind it. The retirees who win aren't always the ones who save the most. They're the ones who understand that numbers don't matter if you get the wrong order. So what can you actually do right now? You need to map your income visibility from now through your 80s. Show exactly when RMDs start, when Social Security kicks in, when dividends and pensions stack on top. You need to identify whether the conversion window is still open, because once it closes, you don't get another chance. And you need to understand that the IRA sitting in your account, it's not just savings. It's a future tax obligation you haven't paid yet. The time to act is before you need to, not after the system has already locked you in. Now you've seen how someone who did everything right, maxed out their 401k, saved $3 million, delayed Social Security, and even paid off their mortgage, they still got hurt by ignoring the order of operations. The tools that helped them win during their working years became the source of their biggest tax bills in retirement. And that's the backwards thinking almost nobody warns you about. You can stop assuming that saving enough is the same as planning well. It's not. The system doesn't care how hard you work to build that balance. It only cares about how and when that balance becomes visible income. If you want to learn more about exactly how my team helps navigate this for clients, click the link below. And now, here's what I'd be thinking about next. If the order of operations matters this much for taxes, how do I build my retirement paycheck? Which accounts do you draw from first? That's a whole other layer, and we break it all down in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.